Hello there, Chris Reardon once again. As always, welcome to today's United Kingdom talk. And just before I came up today, I like to iron a shirt, especially for our video viewers. Why, oh why, is it so... I've got one of those steam irons, not a particularly expensive one. Why, oh why, is it so hard that when you run... Because I was ironing away... You know, and I kept pressing it and I thought, no steam. Now, I don't know about you, but when something goes wrong with a gadget, I always assume the worst. I thought, got to go and get another iron now. Although, not that I would spend money on an iron. Because you know you can get those now in supermarkets for like £5. Steam, honestly, you can buy a steam iron now in a supermarket for £5. How do they do that? Please oh no, I know what's going to happen now. People are going to email the show and tell us about how badly people are paid in a certain country and all that. I know, but still, £5 for an iron. It's good, isn't it? So I'm ironing away and I thought, hang on a minute, is the water in there? And I give it a little shake and there was no water. So I rushed. I got a little plastic thing that I use. Actually, I use it for the bread machine. I fill it up with water so you can measure the water into the bread machine. And I thought I'll use that to top the iron up. Not the bread machine water, but separate water. So I filled this up from the tap, and then I opened the little slot in the top. We carefully prized that slot open. And I attempted to pour the water in, which immediately went all over the place. And it's not like I tried to chuck it all in at once. I was really careful, and yet still a little puddle of... I thought it was one of the cats at an accident, to be honest. There was a little puddle of water on the bottom of the floor that it clearly hadn't got... I don't know what goes on with that. What is wrong with... why is it so hard to fill an iron up? I'll tell you something else. I'd be interested to know if anyone else does this. You know the washing machine? Right. When I put the washing in and you push the button and it fills up in there, psh, as all the water enters the machine. Psh, and it carries on. Psh, and eventually it clicks and stops there. And then there's deathly silence. And you think to yourself, has the washing machine broken now? And then the timer cuts and it goes... And it makes a little bit... It's not a loud noise. A pleasant noise, I would say. A pleasant noise. But I always think to myself, and I look in, and for some reason I expect to see a little bit of water in the bottom. But there never is. So I then fill up a kettle with warm water. I open the soap dispensing drawer, and I pour 2 or 3 kettles full of water in. So eventually I can see, the window at the front of the washing machine. So eventually you can see... a bit of water, not much, just a little, obviously not full up to the top tier, but obviously a little bit of water at the bottom, because I like to see that. Then I know that there's enough water in there. But the washing machine never seems to take as much as that in there. Am I wrong here in doing that? Does anyone else do that? When you've put your washing clothes in the washing machine, do you top it up with more water from a kettle? And again, that always ends up with puddles of water on the floor. I don't know why it is, innit? You open that drawer, you carefully... as I say, I don't chuck it in. I carefully put the water in, and it always ends up half of it on the floor. It dribbles down the bottom of the kettle. What's all that about? Does anyone else do that? There is an email address to the programme. I would love to hear from you. It's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Actually, I've thought I'm probably better off to take the iron all the way over to the sink, aren't I? Really, when you think about it. And just, put the tap on. At least then when it doesn't run completely into the iron, it'll go in the sink and not on my expensive stone kitchen floor, if you don't mind me saying so. Once again, email address, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. So anyway, eventually I ironed my shirt, and I'm wearing a grey shirt today for you. All right, those of you watching the show on YouTube, a nice grey ironed shirt, which nearly wasn't ironed. But I'm not very good at ironing. Look, you can see I get creases in the wrong sort of places. Never mind. Now, what else? Something else has happened this morning. Oh, yes, James Dean rang me this morning. You know James Dean. He does a podcast, it's Matinee Show.co.uk, playing all show tunes and that sort of thing. Matineeshow.co.uk. and he informs me that he has a leak in his roof. Apparently, where the lead flashing is attached to the chimney, it's come away. He's got to have a bloke go up there and fix it. £140, which actually I thought that was pretty good value. The trouble is, as I was saying to him on the phone, when it comes to roofs or building work or anything like that, I haven't got a clue. When you pay a man to go upstairs on the roof, you really don't have a clue what he's doing. I mean, you're at his mercy, aren't you? Yeah, we've done this. Yeah, we've done that. And I always remember seeing a programme on the television, Rogue Traders. That's it. I like that. Anyone watch that in the UK? Rogue Traders. Have you seen that? Anyway, this bloke goes around and finds traders like roofers, electricians, gas people, anything like that. And what they do is they set traps for them. And they call a trader out and they try and catch him not doing things correctly. And I always remember him having a roofer guy on there who was on the roof, and instead of repairing whatever was having to be done, he did buttering up. Now, people in the building trade will know, butch men who are in... I know, are you one? I don't believe... Are you really? Butch men in the building trade will know what buttering up is. It's where they repair a roof, but they don't do it properly. I think it's something to do with skimming concrete in the gaps. Or I'm not quite sure. Do I look like a blooming roofer? No, I am not. Good God. I'm not made to do those. We don't do DIY. Oh, no, thank you very much. So good luck to James, because James Dean has got a leak. I mean, when I spoke to him, he rung up, he said, oh, I've got a leak. I mean, you wonder what people are talking about when they say that, don't you? Especially someone of James Dean's character. I've got a leak. I said, well, go to the hospital, don't tell me. He said, no, it's on my roof. My flashing has come away. I thought, yeah, that's the word for you, James Dean, flashing. Shocking, really, shocking. So that's the news there. James Dean's got a leak. I'll keep you fully informed on that. And don't forget, you can check out his podcast with Madam Aries at matineeshow.co.uk. All right, download on demand, matineeshow.co.uk. We can mention that because none of us are making any money. Oh, things are desperate here in Royal Berkshire. They really are. I've just gone... I mean, I usually wait until my neighbour goes out to work. And I just have a little rummage around in his bin to see. I mean, yesterday, I was very lucky yesterday. Yesterday, I found a packet of ham with 2 slices left. And it was only 4 days out of date. I mean, it was in the bin, so it got sort of... And it was quite a warm day, so it got a bit sweaty. But it was all right. You know, I put it under the tap and then put it in the fridge to cool it down again. Tasted quite nice in the sandwich with a couple of tomatoes, to be honest. So that's that. Now, what else have we got? Another podcast I was listening to this week was Ross Patzelt. Now, I mention this because it kind of ties in with my visit to the dentist this week, right? I was only in there 15 minutes. Do you remember I went down the hospital this last week as well? And they found a little, because there was a mark on my lip, which is nothing. But while he was rummaging around in my mouth, sticking his rubber gloves in my mouth, he noticed a small hole, which I said it had been there a while, and he said there was a cusp on my tooth. And I should go to the dentist to have it smoothed down. Well, I went to the dentist the next day, booked straight in. Oh, we're very good, the dentists around it. Mind you, it's private, you see, dear. I have a private dentist who charges an arm and a leg. But he seems to do... Well, I don't know if he is doing the job properly, to be honest. Anyway, he had a look in there and he says, oh, I'm not sure where it is. When did you go to the hospital? I said, only a couple of days ago. He says, oh, yes, they usually write to us afterwards and leave it at that sort of thing. And that would have explained, I suppose, where this ulcer is coming from. But he had a look in. He says, well, I think it's that at the back there. He says, can you actually feel anything sharp? I said, no. I said, all I know is there's an ulcer there and it doesn't seem to want to go away. So he got this... Then he starts... You know when you're kind of... You're lying like that, and you're lying back in the dentist. And this light comes down, shining in your mouth, and he's in there poking away. And while he was talking, then he was telling me, well, I'm not quite sure where this is. He says there's a bit sticking out there. It might be that. And then he turns around and starts dealing with his tools. You know, I mean, you can't actually see anything. He's just there, and you start hearing things being moved around like that, don't you? And you don't want to look over. And then sometimes you hear him like attaching something, like that click when you push something together. And I never look round because you don't know what it is. I don't want to know what terrible implement he's about to shove into my mouth. Anyway, I says, oh, I don't need an injection for this. Oh, I said, no, it's just the side of the tooth. You won't need an injection. And then he got this like, I don't know, it was like a mini grinding thing and started grinding away in the mouth. Well, I was only in there about 15 minutes. And he said, see how that goes. Come back in a month and we'll check that it's gone. £25, please. God. Well, actually, I thought to myself, you know, for that work, £25, I was quite happy to pay that. But when... oh, excuse me. But when you work it out, that's £25 for 15 minutes work. Well, it's £100 an hour they're on, dear. £100 an hour. My dears, you and I can only dream of ever being on £100 an hour. I think some of the big name DJs like Chris Tarrant were on thousands and thousands of pounds an hour, and television people thousands of pounds an hour. Me, nothing, barely enough to feed the cats. Barely. And talking to the cats, my cat has a favourite new meal, and Susan, our cat lover, I hope this is okay. There is a cat food out called, it's not cheap, it's called Sheba. And that's what she is. She's having that now, as well as the raw meat. And Tiny is actually eating quite well now. If you're a new listener or viewer to the programme, you won't know, but Tiny is the oldest of my two cats. She's very old, about over 24, I would say. And she's a bit of a fussy eater, but she has put on weight and indeed fur, ready for these cold winter months. Anyway, back to the dentist. So he's done that, and that was 2 days ago. Now, the ulcer is still there, but I don't know how long it takes for these things to settle down once the bit sticking out is gone. If indeed he got the right bit. Of course, we're not sure. Anyway, I'll let you know about that. Nothing worse than an ulcer. It's not too... I've got to be honest, it's not too bad. As you can hear, it's not stopping me talking. In fact, there's very, very few things that do stop me talking, my loves. Now, I mentioned Ross because I was listening to his podcast. Now, he does one a week, and you can find him at rosspatzeldt.co.uk. He does a music one and a talk one, okay? rosspatzeldt.co.uk. I was listening to his podcast, and he was saying he has terrible trouble flossing. He has dental sticks. And the funny thing is, I've never heard of dental sticks. So I was in the chemist yesterday. I thought I'll have a look for one of these dental sticks. And yes, they do little packets of like wooden sticks that you're supposed to poke in your tooth and remove all the plaque, isn't it? I'm not quite sure how that works. But he can't... he has great trouble using floss. And I have to say, Ross, it is something that you have to practice. It's quite hard. You kind of get your bit of floss. The worst teeth to do are the ones right at the back. You get your bit... And you have to pull your mouth, right back to get that bit of floss in there. And then... You've got to make the floss tight and pull it back over the tooth, kind of making like a hook around the tooth, and then scrape it up and down. Especially with all that fast food that you and Donna keep eating. Shocking. It's full of sugar and salt, and it's all eroding your teeth, my dear. There's more erosion on your teeth than there is on the coastline of Norfolk. Yes, I was listening to a very interesting podcast going on to something else now. It's funny how all these things are linking up today. I haven't even thought about it. All these things are linking up quickly. I was listening to a programme the other day, Ross, and they were talking about the coastline of Norfolk. And according to this, it was a BBC podcast. According to the podcast, there's one particular village that is literally falling into the sea. Do you know of this village? And I think it might be a good idea. I don't know if that's in your delivery area, to take your little roving microphone down there and do a report from there. There's apparently this road. Okay, obviously it's, you know, it must be, well, I'd assume there's a barrier at some point, but it just disappears into the sea. It goes and it just stops and drops the sea. And apparently there's quite a lot of that side of the UK being eroded by the sea, but the government don't seem to think it's worth shoring it up with bits of concrete and that. You see, the trouble is, it's all very well shoring up the side of the country to stop it eroding with, I suppose, lumps of concrete. That's what they usually use, isn't it? Lumps of concrete. The only thing is, if you were to do that right around the UK, there would be no coastline. You know, no sand, no little stones, no noise, as you know, that beautiful noise as the sea hits a load of little stones and shingle and then pulls back, that beautiful sound. If you put concrete all around the UK, you wouldn't get that sound, would you? Because it would just keep banging into the concrete all the time. And I wondered if you were near one of those towns that are literally falling into the sea. Do let us know, Ross, and we would like a live report from there, please. Thank you very much. Right, on to our emails. Here we go, my darlings. First of all, do you remember our young policeman, Daniel? That is that is how we will know Daniel the policeman. We cannot reveal any further information about these people. Remember, if you ever want to write into me about something that perhaps you shouldn't really let me know about, then your identity will be kept a secret. Cross my heart. I will not tell anyone your identity, okay? So if you've ever, I shouldn't really say this, please don't mention my name on air, but if you ever want to send something like that in, send it in, share it with us. Email chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. And you remember, I was talking about a couple of other policemen I knew in the last show. And Daniel, our young policeman, writes, talking about arresting young people. And quite often, the other policeman I know, young policeman, Chris, he says, when you stop these young hoodies in the street, and they're like, yeah, come on in, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Well, Daniel has written in, I find that all the young hoodies I arrest act up in front of their mates, giving it all big man speech, like I just showed you. Yet when I am booking them into custody, they all cry. He says it's so funny and a bit of self-justice to see them whinge like a baby. You can just see that. I can well believe that. Thank you, Daniel. Thanks for responding to that. And letting us into that. So you just remember that, boys and girls. Those of you who are good people, like, I like to think I'm a fair... I don't think I've ever had a brush with the law, ever. Oh, yes, I did, once. This was when I was 18 years old. And it wasn't so much a criminal thing. I was running a pirate radio station. Now, 18, 28, 38, 39, 44... This is 27 years ago. 27 years ago. I was running a pirate radio station on FM. So I had someone build me a little transmitter. It was all coming from my bedroom. And the police came round with... Well, actually, the police weren't really involved. They were there, I think, just in case there was any trouble. They weren't really interested. In fact, it was a woman, I think. It was a woman. It was a woman police lady. She was ever so nice. But the Department of Trade and Industry come round because it was all very illegal. You couldn't just set up a radio station on FM. You can't do it now either. Without a licence and all that business. The internet, of course, has made everything so much easier, I have to say. And anyone can quite legally now set up a radio station on the internet, as long as you have the relevant licences and that sort of thing. FM's a bit different because, of course, it's you've only got so many frequencies and they have to protect those. And the police came round there. That's the only brush with that and a few speeding tickets, Daniel. Oh, come on, what's a few speeding tickets between friends, my friend? Eh? I happen to know that the normal police force, i.e. the ones that, like yourself, walking around and that sort of thing. I'm not speaking for you, Daniel, but a lot of, as well as Chris and yourself, I do know other policemen, but I happen to know that most of the normal police force hate the traffic police. Is that right, Daniel? Can you tell me if that's right or not? Do normal policemen hate the traffic police? Is that right? Yeah, let me know. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. Now, someone who's forgotten to write in, and her birthday has actually appeared on my birthdayalarm.com thing. Now, I haven't got everyone's birthday on there, but certainly some of our regular listeners and viewers, as they write in with their birthdays, sometimes I should do it more often actually. I try and add them to my birthdayalarm.com thing, and then it emails me if they're going to have a birthday. And someone who I know regularly listens to the show has had a birthday and hasn't told me about it. Now, is this because you're embarrassed at your increasingly old age? Amy in Greenville, Tennessee. Is that why? But don't worry, my darling. Chris has remembered Amy in Greenville, Tennessee. Here we go, my darling. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Amy. Happy birthday to you. All right, Amy. See, you even forgot your own birthday, my love. How terrible is that? Happy birthday for you. There we are. Happy birthday. Now, Irvin Distiller. I've no idea. I'm sure this is Wayne Anonymous parading on my Facebook as Irvin Distiller. My Facebook, incidentally, Chris Reardon London, if you want to add me, okay? Look for me sitting there with a cup of tea. Chris Reardon London. And Irvin wrote on my wall on Facebook, a future Bracknell headline. Bracknell is, of course, where I live. A future, and indeed where the show comes from. A future Bracknell headline may well read, woman walking dogs reports a nutter making strange noises while standing in the dark next to Forest Lake. Contributions to Free Chris from the Institute should be mailed to Joy in Acton. Thank you, Irvin. He is, of course, talking about our little show we did last... When was it? I can't remember. One day last week where we went over to the forest by the lake. And I didn't realise there was a fairly busy footpath just in front of the lake. And people kept walking past. They were so nosy. People kept coming past all the time. And for some reason, also, I had a text message from my friend Anthony, who watched the show, and for some reason was surprised that I needed padding underneath my bum while I was sitting on that rather uncomfortable stick. Well, it's true. Are you suggesting that it's fat? Are you suggesting I've got a fat bum, Anthony? Thank you very much. How rude are you, dear? Go on. Anthony's actually lost a lot of weight, and he's very proud of that fact. He keeps getting his stomach out at clubs to show everyone. And quite frankly, I have to go on, force yourself. Go on, Anthony. Go and have a pasty and a bag of chips. You know you want that, don't you? Nice cheese and onion pasty, bag of chips with salt and vinegar. Go on. You want that, don't you? You want that pasty. Who else have we got here? Oh, look. It's someone's birthday today as well. Again, a second birthday, boys and girls. Are you ready? Now, who could this be? Well, it's our very own Suko's Jade's birthday. Jade? Oh, hello, Jade. How are you, my love? Give kisses. Mwah. Kisses on cheeks. Mwah. Can I have one? Come on. Kiss. Kiss on my cheek. Kiss on my cheek. Come on. Thank you. Jade, happy 13th birthday. Here we go. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jade. Happy birthday to you. Yes. "13 years old today. Happy birthday, Jade." And it gets better and better. Don't you worry about getting older, my darling. Don't worry. It gets better and better. 13 today, Jade. Happy birthday. So tell me, did you receive any nice gifts or nice cards from people? Eh? Let me know. Jade, I haven't had an email from you for a while, my love. I'm starting to feel a little bit lonely. See, you hook me in, don't you? You send me 1 or 2 little emails telling me about your life, and then it all stopped. And I wondered, where has Jade gone? So let me know how your birthday went, okay? Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now it's time to go over to Iceland, where they are all bankrupt and no one's got any money left. It's shocking, it really is. Fortunately, our dear friend Robert in Iceland writes, "Dear Chris, I've had a word in the ear of the Prime Minister of Iceland. He has told me privately that he will break open the piggy bank which he has hidden away under the floorboards and pay up." Thank God for that, dear. We've got nothing left here in the UK, dear. I understand. So I heard on the radio last night that Iceland had borrowed 6 times its national wealth. How does that happen? Please someone explain to me how that... Is that like me, for example, gathering together everything that I have, timesing it by 6 and borrowing that amount? How the hell did you lot do that? Well, I shouldn't really laugh. It's a terrible situation to be, but you've got to laugh at life, my loves. Don't be miserable all the time, like some of the bar staff I've worked with over the years. Yeah. Do you remember that show? I did the one about the miserable bar person. They're still going on. I've got bar people coming up to me where I work and saying, "You weren't talking about us, were you, Chris?" Might have been. Might have been not. And 2 people have guessed correctly, privately, in my little earhole. 2 people have guessed to me privately the person that I was talking about. But I could not reveal his name on this program. Oh my God, I've said his. I've just said his. Oh, I did say his and hers last time. I've just said his. There you are. That narrows it down a bit. Mind you, I don't think there's a... Hang on, do we have any female bar? Oh, it's one... Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do have some female bar stuff. Who could it have been? Even these people who come up to me in bars and say, "Was it so-and-so?" Even if you get it right, I'm not going to tell you. It's my little secret. Oh, anyway, back to this email. Yes, Prime Minister of Ireland is going to break over the piggy bank, which he has hidden away under the floorboards, and pay up. I understand that some of Gordon Brown's heavies have arrived in the country demanding the return of their money. Here, mate, we want our money back, or else we're going to send our boys over to sort you buggers out. Brownie ain't too happy with us boys right now, and he said that if he doesn't come back, we out the without the Reddies, then he is going to stop shopping at Iceland. Bob the Viking, working hard to get your money back, plus the usual 10%. Thank you, Bob. Yes, that's what I'm going to stop doing that as well now. I don't think Iceland the shop and Iceland the country are the same person, though, Bob. Although I'm not sure. I do hope you're able to sort out your problems there. And next time, when you get all your money together next time, don't be greedy. This is what happened, you see, dear. And I'm afraid I'm going to have to decline. Bob did offer to send in part payment fish. Well, we had all those problems years ago as well, Bob. The old cod wars. Do you remember that? Imagine that. People fighting over a few fish. Where will it all end? Where will it all end? Thank you, Bob. Great to hear from you. And look who it is here. It's our cat lover, Susan. I haven't heard from you for so long, Susan. I thought you'd been eaten by one of your own tigers. But you're not. I'm pleased. Susan is here. And Susan, hang on. Where is it now? I'll find it. Susan is off soon to Southfork in Dallas. Yes. Anyway, more of that in a minute. Susan writes, Ivona in Poland, who sent me that lovely T-shirt. Do you remember that T-shirt I was wearing a couple of shows ago? She sent me a T-shirt. Susan watched it on the video, and she says, "Hi, Chris. Ivona in Poland has excellent taste. I really like the T-shirt she sent you. It's very nice. The opium candle, which I thought she was secretly trying to send me drugs through the post, in disguise as a candle. I thought opium candle, you see. I thought it was right. But actually, it was just a simple candle. The opium candle is a fragrance made by Yves Saint Laurent. Now notice the accent there. Yves Saint Laurent. When I do little accents for you. Or maybe I try and speak another language. I try and put on an accent as well. Bonsoir. Comment ça va? Ça va bien, merci. Et vous? Ouvrez les fenêtres. I actually said there, hello, how are you? Open the window. Fermez les bouches. Shut the mouth. Oh yes, I'm fluent in so many languages, dear. Susan says, the fragrance is made by Yves Saint Laurent. It's a designer fragrance. I really love the chocolate candles she sent you also. Oh, it was a lovely smell. I lit one in the living room. The whole room, for days afterwards, smelt of chocolate. Sweet like chocolate, baby. You can always send her my name and address if she likes to send presents. Maybe she is Ivona that was married to Donald Trump. No, I don't think it's the same one, duh. She was from Poland and also very beautiful. If Ivona is the one that was married to Donald, maybe she could invite us all to her mansion in Florida. Maybe it was the one married to Donald Trump. I didn't ask her. And she's moved now to Slovakia. Could it be the same person, I wonder? What a wonderful vacation we would all have. Tell Ivona that I think she is very kind. She is a nice girl, she is. She's very kind. She went out of her way to please someone she cares about. Oh, little old me. You see, people do love me after all. There I go, walking around thinking that nobody loves me. And then a present of chocolate candles and opium arrives in the letterbox. Makes me happy again. Too many people nowadays are very self-centred. Ivona is definitely a very caring person. What a nice thing to write, Susan. Since I mentioned Florida, and I am a very thrifty person, same as me, Susan, we need to be thrifty in this day and age, my darling. I want to share a way to save a lot of money when visiting the parks. Now, who is it going to visit Florida? Oh, is it? I think it is Robert in Iceland, isn't it? Well, you won't be able to afford that now, will you, my love? Was it you, Robert, in Florida, in Iceland, going to visit Florida? I can't remember. I'm sure it was. Well, not now, mate. Huh? Or are you not affected by the? I reckon Robert in Iceland, Bob the Viking. I reckon he's the one who's got all the money. All these British councils and private people and charities who have lost their money, I reckon Robert's got it all. That's what it's all about. Isn't it funny? Is it? I'm sure it was you, Robert, who's going to visit. Is it you who's going to visit Florida? Isn't it funny how all that money's gone missing just before you're about to go to Florida for a holiday? What are you up to? Now I'm concerned. I want to share a way to save a lot of money while visiting the parks. Well, Robert won't have to. He's got all our money with him. My sister and I discovered this the very first time we visited Florida. We had spent all day at Epcot. I like Epcot Centre. I like that. And I've always got all the technology there, isn't it? And after going back to the hotel that evening, we decided to go and look at some of the gift shops in Kissimmee. I stayed at Kissimmee. Yes! What was the name of the place? I think it was the Hotel Hawaii. Or something like that. I can't remember. Long time ago. And Kissimmee is the city closest to the parks. Yeah, that's where I stayed. Outside a lot of the gift shops were these booths set up with a person trying to get you visit the condos that they sell as timeshares. They told us if we visited the condos, we could get 2 free tickets to the park of our choice or a selection of other nice gifts, including Mickey Mouse telephones and other gifts worth $100. I actually... I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you this. Right, I won't mention the name of the person. Okay, yeah. I have to be careful here. Official Secrets Act I had to sign years ago when I was working for British Telecom. Anyway, one of the houses that I went round, they had a Mickey Mouse telephone by the swimming pool. It was actually a star. It was actually someone very, 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 very famous. And that person had a Mickey Mouse telephone next to the swimming pool, and it had got wet. So we had to go around and replace it, you see. Now, nice phones. I do like those Mickey Mouse phones. I could have one here, actually. Sort of in the studio. Yes, it'd be quite nice. She says, all you have to do is have a major credit card to take the tour. Ooh, I don't like the sound of this, actually, Susan. That is just so that they know, at least, so that they know you have at least a little credit. You just have to show them your credit card. Oh, they don't take an impression or anything like that then? The tour is free. Most of the tours start at 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning. They will give you a free buffet breakfast for you and your children and take you on a tour of a beautiful condo. The entire tour took about half an hour. They will try to talk you into buying a condo, but just tell them no, that you didn't like them or some other excuse. They will then give you your voucher and you get to go and get your free gifts or tickets to the park of your choice. You will then be at the park by 10 o'clock in the morning with a full belly and a free ticket. I don't like the sound of that at all. See, the thing is, Susan, you and I will be very good at standing there and saying no. I have this when people ring up and try and sell me stuff. I'm very good at saying no or just putting the phone down. I don't need to talk to these people. I'm the same in the streets. They start rabbiting in your ear and you say no. You've got to be really forceful with that. You know when you go in a shop and they try and you buy something large or even small nowadays and they try and sell you an extended warranty, I'm really firm. No. I don't beat around the bush. None of this, oh, well, I'm not quite sure. Because if you like that, they go on and on at you. What you have to say is no, in a really firm voice. Susan, you, I know, and I will have no problem saying no. Other people will not have that so easy. My sister, when she has those salesmen ring up, she can't put the phone down. She says it's rude. And I've got a feeling my sister, she could be probably talked into buying something that perhaps she didn't really want. So I'm not sure if that is good advice there, Susan. But thank you anyway, my darling. All advice is appreciated. Susan says, I told my boyfriend about this the second time I went to Orlando. He said he didn't want to waste the time taking a tour. But after going to the first park and seeing the wonderful assortment of stores and restaurants to visit, he decided it was worth it to take the tours. You can spend the money you save on tickets on food and souvenirs. Yeah, the only thing with the Disney, I don't think I've got any criticism at all about the whole Disney thing. I mean, I love it all. I love it all. But the only only criticism I will have is the price of the food and some of the souvenirs does tend to be fairly pricey in Disney, doesn't it? I would recommend anyone going to Disney to have a very large, a really big breakfast in the morning, and try, if you're on a budget, and try and make that last as your meals right throughout the day. You'll get hungry at some point, or I don't know if you're allowed to take sandwiches in there or anything like that. There's nothing wrong with the food in Disney. It's quite edible, and there's all sorts of stuff. And I know some people will say, "Oh, you're tight." The fact that you don't want to buy food in there. Well, no, I don't think it's that at all. I mean, I just don't think, in comparison. Of course, it's cheaper. Buying a burger in America, wherever it is cheaper than buying one here in the UK. But when you go outside the Disney to other places dotted around, like whatever, McDonald's, Burger King, Denny's, somewhere like that, then you realise just how expensive the food is within the Disney thing itself. Susan writes, there are plenty of companies selling timeshares. We got up each morning and visited a different one. Susan, what are you like? We went to Disney World, Universal Studios, MGM, Epcot, all for free. I don't blame you. Yeah, well done, Susan. Also, the best time to visit the parks in Orlando is in September or October. The weather is still warm and the children are back in school. No lines at any of the parks, so that's no queuing at that time, September or October. Now, that's good advice, that is. When I've gone to Orlando, the queues have been unbelievable, usually in June, July, okay? But I would say to you, if you've never been to Disney, queuing at Disney is not like queuing for a bus or queuing in the supermarket. There are things happening all around you all the time. And actually waiting in that queue for sometimes as much as 45 minutes isn't as bad as it sounds. There's characters walking around, you've got TV screens, people making announcements. So queuing in Disney isn't as bad as all that. Have a nice day, Chris. I'll write and tell you about Dallas later this week. Oh, please do. Please do, my love. Oh, I've missed a bit out here. The weather is still warm and the children are back at school. No queues at any of the parks. There are usually only about 20 or 30 people in the line for any ride. The hotel rates are cheaper as well in September or October. Without the crowds, you will really enjoy your trip a lot more. If you have children, tell the school that you have a relative that is sick and you will have to take the children and go and see them. Look at this terrible advice you're giving, Susan. Just tell your kids to keep their mouth shut when they get back to school, or they will never see Orlando again. Thank you, Susan. And Susan, of course, is going to be our reporter going to the reunion of Dallas at South Fork. We've got our very own reporter going to Dallas. They're having this big reunion. Larry Hagman's going to be there and a few of the others. Bobby Ewing, Patrick Duffy. It's fantastic, isn't it? My friends worked with Patrick Duffy in a pantomime in Brighton. Dave Lynn, who I actually work with every Thursday night, worked with Patrick Duffy last year in a pantomime. I think it was in Brighton, somewhere down on the south coast. Thank you, Susan. Hello to Daniel. Look at this, someone that I haven't seen for ages. Hello, it's Dan from Bracknell with the Range Rover. Yes, I remember you. How's it going? I moved to Wiltshire about a year ago and I was checking out Venture and I saw your picture. How random is that? Thank you, Dan. Thank you very much, Dan. Nice to hear from you, sir. And oh yes, talking of other radio stations there, got to say hello to Stanley. And congratulations, Stanley, who has lost weight, haven't you? And he says to me that he lost weight because of me. Yes. Because of something I did. He likes watching a little bit on the show, you know, towards the end, where where I jump on a bicycle, okay? Oh, obviously, you know, you've got to be watching the show for that. At the end, I jump on a bicycle and I go. And he got in his head that'd be the way to lose weight. He went out and bought a second-hand bicycle, not particularly expensive. And he's been doing cycling and cut down a bit on the old bad food. And he's lost some weight. So congratulations, Stanley. I, too, have decided that I would like to lose a bit. And it's no good telling me about... you know what I mean. You know I've got something about the weight. Well, I'm now 13 stone 2. So I've decided, right, that's it now. I've kind of gone over the pond. I want to be 12 stone. That's what I want to be, 12 stone. So where's C? Did very well last night. No crisps, no extra food other than an extra piece of bread. That's all I had. So I've done very well last night. I'll let you know how I get on. Fight the Flab with Chris Reardon. We need to lose the weight before Christmas so that we can all put it back on again on Christmas Day with those chocolate cakes and things. Hello to Doug. So well done, Stanley. Very good, sir. Hi, Chris. Great show the other day. Loved the birds in the background. What's singing away, dear? Well, have you listened to my soundscape yet of the garden? My 5-hour soundscape. You can find that at chrisreardon.co.uk. On the left-hand side, look for Berkshire Sounds, and then just click on it, and it should play through your computer speakers. Or right-click and download. Do a save as. Is that a right-click? I think it's a right-click. You know what I mean. If it doesn't play straight out, then right-click and save as the file. Be warned, it's a very big file done in high quality. Okay? 5-hour job, that is. And that's all bird singing and country stuff. You made me forget the bad day I had at work. Got into it a bit with some lady. She'd called me crazy, and I lost it and called her a... Oh, I can't say those words on this programme. It's a family programme. Dougie, how can you say those things? She's always bitching at me about something. So told management about it. And no, I'll get called in the office on Tuesday, he says. Hey, I might get a few days off. I hate that place. But with what they pay me now, could not find much around here to match it for starting pay. And with my big credit card payments, can't take much less for pay. Oh, do you owe a lot on your credit cards? I don't know how people do that. I've never owed loads of money on credit cards. I always live within my means. Always, from a little boy. The only loans was a car and a house. They're the only, in my mind, they are the only acceptable loans. Car and house. Of course, we're coming up to Christmas now. You'll get all these people taking out loans or using their credit card up to the limits so that they can spend loads of money at Christmas. And that's just... it's wrong, 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 wrong. If you haven't got the money, you shouldn't be spending it. I've always been like that, and I've always said that on the show. If you haven't got the money, don't spend it. Okay, so you may have children. I don't think you've got children, have you, Doug? But even if you've got children, you have to tell them, we can't afford it. Simple as that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Don't spend money you haven't got. That's why the world is in such a terrible crisis at the moment. He says, that's one reason I'm renting a room in a house. It's because my credit cards. Cool. I have just two cards now. So good luck with keep trying to pay them off. When you've paid them off, cut one of them up. Just keep one and reduce the limit to something you can afford. That's the other thing the credit card company's doing, isn't it? They keep putting up your limit. When you get near it, they put it up again. Don't let them do that. They've done that to me before, and I've rung them back, so put it back down again, please. He says, Aaron Carter in Nick Carter's from Backstreet Boys' brother. I didn't know that. I remember talking about Aaron. Was it Aaron? It was Aaron Carter, wasn't it? The little boy who's actually 20 now. I didn't know it was Nick Carter's brother from Backstreet Boys. He says he's got 2 of Aaron's CDs. Yes. Aaron Carter, I remember him. Thank you, Dougie. Hello to Carl. Carl in Yorkshire. Said about the old how low reverse auctions, which I hope you know how they work now after our instructions from John at West 5 and someone else, and Sherry as well, told us how that all worked. Carl says, I had the same thought. It confused me, but I think they work on fractions of an amount. Of course, they don't actually pay that amount. It's just a way to make a unique bid. How do you know that, Carl? How do you know? I reckon they do pay that. If you make a bid of 4 pence and you win something, I'm sure you have to pay that 4 pence, dear. Are you over-analysing, Carl? Oh, I can't stand that. People who analyse everything that's going on all the time, dear. Stop analysing, Carl. You'll become boring. You'll become boring, dear. Leave it all to chance. It's much more fun. Oh, what's the time? Only got a few minutes left, haven't we? Oh, Carl also wrote in and said it's pronounced Dakari. What is pronounced Dakari? And how many shows is this ago? You'll have to give me a bit more than that. Don't send me one-liners, Carl. It's pronounced Dakari. Well, we must have been talking about something, but unfortunately, that was about 235 million conversations ago, and I can't remember that. Right, finally, oh, it's happened to me. Hang on a minute. We're not going to have much time for all of this, all of these emails. Let me see how quickly we can do this. Hello to Leandro. That's a nice name. Hello, Chris Reardon. I'm Leandro from Brazil. And I'm writing to say that I enjoy your podcast very much. It's superb. Thank you very much, Leandro. Since I returned from England back home to Sao Paulo, I have been looking for a good podcast show where I could keep my English fluent. By listening to your shows, I've found good humour, good, loud, clear English speaking, and very good contents on it. And I hope friendship. All right, Leandro, I hope friendship as well, because all people that listen or join into this show are friends together. That's what we try and do. Try to be a friend at the other end. Thank you for that, Leandro. Can you send me a picture of where you live, sort of the area? And because I'd like to visit Brazil at some point. I got an offer from a lad at one of the clubs actually this week who's moving back to Brazil after 10 years. He's got a job there, and he has offered me to go and stay over there when he eventually goes back in a month's time. He's arranged a 2-bedroomed flat there, so looking forward to that. But if Leandro, if you could send me pictures of sort of the area where you live, maybe. Doesn't matter if it's I don't know what sort of place you live in, if it's country or town or anything like that. Send us a couple of pictures of where you live. All right. Thank you very much. And finally on the show today, a new listener in Florida. There's a lot of Floridians watching this programme now, I must say. Hello, Chris. I've been listening to the show now for a few weeks and decided to write in. I'd first like to say how much I enjoy the show and how great it is to be listening to on a long work day. Oh, do you listen at work, do you? Yes. Takes your mind off the job, doesn't it? I listen to different talk radio stations, but yours is the first to have a positive attitude on every show. We've got to be positive, dear. Don't be miserable. I mean, how many people, I wonder, would sit here and either listen or watch the show if I spoke like this all the time and, oh, God, all the world's run out of money and it's all doom and gloom and we're all finished. We're doomed. Doomed, as that bloke used to say on Dad's Army. Do you watch Dad's Army? It's nice to hear that you like Florida because I'm currently living in Central Florida. And she goes on to say, I'm listening to the Tuesday show right now and you were talking about the movie The Others, that Toby. I agree this movie is very good. Oh, hang on a minute. Look at the time. I've run out of time. This is from Rachel. Rachel, I shall have to finish your email in the next show. All right, my darling. Sorry to cut it off half there, but I only have a very, very short 57 minutes on this programme, and it's at its end. I do hope you'll be able to join me for the next show. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Do join in by email, boys and girls. Chris at United Kingdom Talk. .co.uk. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. UK rather. See ya. Bye bye.